So what's the wildest thing that you've ever done without getting hurt, of course?
The wildest thing, the most questionable thing that I've done was probably the March of 1985, and I rode a motorcycle back to Boulder from Silverthorne in a raging blizzard.
Not smart.
Nope.
Sorry.
Nope. There was a woman involved. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh, you had to get somewhere.
Oh yeah. Well, I had to get home, so because I was coming back. But there was about 2 feet of packed down, churned up snow.
Wow.
Everybody else, the chain laws were in effect, and here I am on this Honda 750 going about 8 miles an hour and trying to not go off the road. Some guy in a SUV came by, passenger window rolled all the way down. His whole upper body was outside the car, and he had an SLR going.
Taking pictures of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, nice, I'm going to be in the magazines again.
If you're within the sound of my voice, you are listening to the Sterling Spin Podcast. I'm really excited to bring you a new spin for living your best life and also some great tools for your well-being. I'm Liz Sterling, and I'm welcoming you to today's program. With me in the studio is T.G. Lewis. He is the producer and director at the Captain's Lounge Studios and the CIT Network. He's been involved in television and community relations for over 30 years. He's a videographer. He's a writer. Most of all, he is an idea person, and we'll get to explore that, along with the fact TG is my new friend, so welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I'm sitting up very straight when I'm with you. Is that because I feel like I'm with the captain?
No, it's kind of it's how it's done, right? I mean, I'm always, I'll watch something like a Meet the Press, which is a very well done program. But I'm always watching it for the technical aspects of it. And one thing that you will see, people at that level, their backs never ever touch the chair. They're always sitting like this. And, you breathe better if you do that. You're sitting more up. And also you look a little bit better. So
I'm sitting very upright, so I think it's something that has to do with being with you and television production. You make me feel that I'm in the right element because I've been in front of your camera. Mm-hmm. And so that was a lot of fun. I was in your studio. You had me for an interview. It was totally great. And
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You have a network, the CIT Network, and your Captain's Lounge studio. But let's start with you being an idea man. And when did that start?
I started coming up with ideas that I thought were maybe worth doing something with in the early 80s. And long about that time, I didn't own any kind of a camera at all. I didn't own so much as an Instamatic camera. But about that time, there was a commercial out for a brand new video camera that you had to buy a separate portable recorder, but it was affordable. Up to that point in time, doing anything with video, you were looking at a local TV station, something like that.
No, so like an individual wouldn't think of doing it because it was only something the professionals used.
Right, exactly. And so, but all of a sudden, this recording setup became available, attainable at that point in time. And so I bought it because there were some things ideas that I wanted to get out there. One of them was an idea for a motorcycle maintenance video. So that we proceeded to make.
So you are a motorcycle enthusiast. I know that about you. You hit the road every year. You take long trips. And tell me a little bit about that. And then I see how you put the motorcycle maintenance along with something that's your passion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always wanted to travel when I was a little kid, and there's no better way to see the country than on a motorcycle.
For you.
Well, I think if you really want to see the country, I mean, you could ride a bicycle, but then you can't really get anywhere unless
You
you're
know,
Lance Armstrong.
you're
I mean,
absolutely right. I mean,
so
I whiz by in a car. What am I actually seeing? I'm seeing like the trees on the highway. I like to take back
right,
roads, roll down the windows, go slowly. But I
absolutely.
understand what you're saying. But if you really want to see it, be on the ground and be open to the elements.
Oh yeah, and then go through all the small towns instead of going around them. And
Yes.
because every one is different, the topography, the architecture, the people, the cars, the businesses, every single small town in this nation is different. And so I've been in, I think, all 48. Well, not all 40, but 48. I think I've missed Rhode Island in 1980, but I've been in every state, including 2005. I rode to Alaska by
Wow.
myself
From where?
from Colorado,
Whoa, that's
basically from here.
thousands of miles.
It was. My butt hurt by the time I got there.
Well, that's TMI if you ask me, but it's
okay.
okay. I have to say, you have such a great broadcasting voice.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Have you used it professionally?
I have.
Tell us about
Yeah.
it.
Well, I started out a long time ago as a stage actor. So a lot of developing, the lower registers and everything that came out of stage performance because you need to, at least back then, you needed to be able to hit the cheap seats. And nowadays, I believe that there's entirely too much reliance upon body microphones for sound support. And the problem is that when it's in the middle school and the high school, the younger actors are never allowed to truly develop their voices.
Yeah.
So and instead everybody is kind of like, and on stage, are you kidding me? You need to teach them to speak.
You know, it's interesting because I project. I have a big voice and it projects loud. And I don't know how many times today or last week or in restaurants when I'm with the kids, and they're like, shh, your voice, like take it down a notch.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure where this voice came from, but I do love it. And I get heard, that's for sure. And it brought me to broadcasting. So I guess your voice from stage brought you into being behind the camera and in front? How
Well,
did that happen?
Interestingly enough, we did the care and feeding of your motorcycle. I was the on-camera person. I wrote the teleplay and worked out all of the technicals, the camera, the lights, and the whole bit. It was pretty primitive, but then also got involved with a local company called RC Video Magazine. And they hired me it was decided that there was a need for a radio control model car video. And so they hired me to write the teleplay and be the on-camera character for RC Wheels. And I created this character called Rad Max, and mirrored sunglasses, and just had an absolute ball doing it. And then there were a couple of other things, but then more and more I started to move behind the camera, and so now only sporadically will I do something in front of a microphone or in front of a camera. One thing that I did, now it's going on 20 years ago, but I shot a fly fishing show for a couple of years, and we went all over the Western Hemisphere to do it, and it was called the Barry Reynolds Fly Fishing Journal. And it opened with this video montage, and what you heard was, take a fly fishing journey, an odyssey that leads you to and through tranquil rivers and majestic lakes. And so, yeah.
That's
and that
pretty
was
cool.
Yeah.
That's
So,
nice.
But I used me because I was cheap and I was available. I was right there.
So it seems to me that you had a lot of, besides interest, skill sets or resources that naturally came out and you were able to use them. Let's roll the clock back to in the 80s when you first started and you first saw that video cameras were available and you could use them. What do you think is like one thing that you may have learned in your early days of production and videography that was a seed that was planted that still you carry with you today?
studying people. Real early on, I worked on this thing, and it was this. She was a very well-off stockbroker type, and she was going to give a talk to this group. And so I was setting my white balance and doing a mic check, and so I had her in my lens because I was checking my focus, and I noticed that she did not look happy. This is a woman that was making just oodles of money, but she didn't look happy. And so what happens is that if you pay attention, you see things in a person's face in the unguarded moments. You know, when they know that the attention is being somewhere else. So, and I've kind of cultivated a sensitivity to also knowing when to be able to do that, but not draw attention to myself. So I did a dirt bike gig for about 6 years called the Rocky Mountain 300. And there was the guy, he was the most famous dirt bike cross-country racer in the country. His guy's name was Dick Burleson, and he'd injured himself. And so we went to, and going to go to the medical trailer and get his elbow seen to. And the producer of the gig, he said, you got to go tape that. I didn't want to do that because I'm going to watch Dick Burleson get his elbow.
People want to see that.
Yeah. But so I just started talking to Dick because we kind of knew each other a little bit. But and I had my camera down here, and he's talking to the doctor, he's talking to me, and I'm talking to him and everything. And my hands are, and now I'm like this, and because I was now recording.
Uh-huh.
And,
Wait, he didn't know?
Well, no, not for a little bit. You know, but then because he's talking to me and I'm talking back to him, and then I probably went a little bit more blank than usual. But he looked at me and then he went, "Dude, you're taping me." Sorry. So, but the camera always introduces artifice into the situation. It's inescapable. As soon as someone knows that they're on camera, they're
Oh my
up a little
goodness.
bit.
It's the same thing with like if somebody knows you're going to take a picture, they put that smile on.
Sure.
It's that smile. It's like, you know, everybody's got a certain smile that you adopt for your cameras and your picture taking. Or, oh my goodness, I've seen people do selfies and they're like, they're like moving around and holding the selfie and up higher and then down. I mean, it's really very interesting. You study people. You have an innate ability to get a hit on like what you sense somebody's feeling. Are you like an empath kind of person?
Well, you know, some of that, interestingly enough, I started sharpening my skills on back in '82 because I waited tables for a long time. And I waited with this one guy, and he had this great way that he looked at it for how to get a feel for what that particular table wanted from him as a server. And he said he always took the last 3 steps up to the table to study the people.
Wow.
To know whether they wanted the waiter to be involved. I mean, some people will love a waiter that sings and dances and tells jokes and everything. And other people, what they want is the waiter to be as silent as possible, keep the coffee full, you know, bring a fresh glass of water, clear the plates or whatever, and zero talking. And everybody's in between that. So
fascinating. You know, it makes you stop and think about what your own style, or for me, like what my style is. I want some engagement. I want to know a little bit about you. I want to know what your ideas are. And then it's like, okay, thanks. And then I go to the meal. It's like, just give me something, you know, that I can get a sense that we've connected. I think that that's what everybody's really looking to feel connected in one way or another to people. It's like a big thing for me, and I think it's a big thing for most people. Most people want to feel a part of something, part of someone, part of a world, like to feel that we can be involved or make a difference.
Well, and now it's even so much harder because as much as we have all this wonderful communications technology, and we are more alone than we've ever been.
Yeah,
and
that's why I think we need to be connected more.
Oh,
we
yeah.
may be connecting more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring up that aloneness. That is the opposite of what you're doing. My guest is T.G. Lewis. He's the producer and the director at the Captain's Lounge. and he's the founder of the CIT Network. And I'm Liz Sterling, and I would love for you to subscribe to this YouTube channel as you're watching this right now. And that means that you like what you see. It lets me know, and I really do appreciate the feedback. But more importantly, I'll give something back to you. And if you hit the notification bell, it's just that little bell, you'll get notified every time there's a new program that we bring to you. And those are every single Sunday. So stay with us because we've got lots of fabulous programming. We get to be here now again with you, TG, and your network and your studio. You're involving people in your life. You really do. Like, you are a magnet of attraction. You are calling people together, coming to the network, producing shows. You just did a live show, which was really a stretch for you, I understand. So what is this that's motivating you? Like, before we go into what you're actually doing, what's going on? What is this thing inside you that wants to put all this effort in?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the fact there was a fellow that I actually met here when it was Channel 3, way back when. His name was Kirk Wyleb. And Kirk and I ended up working together on Game of the Week from 1993 to 2009. And past that, we worked together on just a boatload of stuff. And in 2016, he ended up getting this house that had a full finished basement. And I suggested we build a TV studio in it. He said, yeah. And for 8 years, we cranked out a lot of stuff. But Kirk passed away just over a year ago, and he left me the studio. So it's a studio wrapped at a house.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that he wanted to see the studio go on, and it's not a home house, so I'm turning the entire thing into a studio.
So it's like you're fulfilling and keeping his legacy alive.
I hope I'm doing what he would have liked me to do.
You know, I feel your sincerity, and you're a funny guy to me, and you're very bright, and you've got lots of energy. But when you talked about your friend Kirk, and just now, and what's that motivating, what keeps you or gets you going, and then you spoke about him, you know, your whole everything changed. It really. He obviously has touched you in a deep way, and you're carrying that out into the community. So let's talk about the community of people, who you're attracting, what you're doing, and how's it been going for you?
Well, there have been some really interesting fits and starts on things. The Saturday night show has been very challenging. There have been some technical issues that we still need to get ironed out. But the first one, and you were there, the thing that was so wonderful, it was the feeling in the room. There's a lot of things that you can fix in editing, but you can't create the feeling that was in the room that was really positive. You can't create that in editing. So everybody had a really, really good time, and even the people who were on the crew, everybody was pretty jazzed to have done something like that. So
you did a little skit in the beginning,
yeah,
because you were calling it Saturday Night Live. And you did a skit that was like, hey, guys, we can't call this Saturday Night Live. Like,
we'll get sued.
That's already used. We'll get sued.
Yeah.
And it was just so fresh. And, of course, it positioned it right up against Saturday Night Live. And I've never been in the audience of that program. But when I was in the audience and you were creating the show, there was an electricity. Everyone who was there watching, cueing, wearing the sets over your eyes, talking in the little microphones. You had like maybe 7 or 10 people in crew who were working and some volunteers. I mean, there was like a super amount of activity. And if I take that activity and then I juxtapose it to you on a motorcycle, and I juxtapose that to you being out with hot rodders and with fly fishermen, you go after adventure or something like that. What do you know about yourself that's along those lines?
I know that I should have been a hell of a lot more careful over the last 40 years.
I didn't expect you to say that. Why do you go there?
Well, a lot of it has to do with you end up hurting yourself, and the injuries don't ever totally go away.
You hurt yourself.
Yes, yes. Joints never forget. So,
So
and
this daredevil in you, this adventure seeker, you
when I was in my 20s, I'm going to live forever. I'm invulnerable. I am Superman. Well, it turns out, no, actually, I wasn't.
So you're dealing with an injury. Was it from the motorcycle?
Actually, lots of little things. I buggered my ankle ice skating a long time ago. I screwed up a knee water skiing. This last summer, I had a Burger King drive-through gas station parking lot try to take me out with a little trickle of water. I went down there to buy a car, and I'm walking across this concrete, this trickle of water that was maybe 3/4 of an inch wide, and I hit that, and so, but not being careful. I was in a great mood. I'd finally gotten down to San Antonio. I went down there to buy a car. Frontier Airline tried to mess me up with not giving my boarding pass. My genius daughter tracked it down. They changed the flight time 4 times. I still managed to get down there. I'm there, baby. It's happening. I got my cashier's check. Everything's great. I'm singing Elvis as I'm walking 2 miles from the motel back to the Burger King so I can get something to eat. And I'm here, and Burger King's right there.
You were walking. I made up in my head that you were on the motorcycle and no, you were walking and slipped on the trickle.
But not being careful.
I know what you're talking about. Listen to this, is really cute though. I was living in my home and I had a cup of tea at night.
Was this Florida or
in
New York?
Florida,
Okay.
and it was late at night, and I looked around and I saw the tea sitting on a little saucer, and I was like, I don't want to leave it out. I'll bring it into the sink. Well, it was dark, and I didn't see that the tea saucer, some of the water from the tea bag sloshed over the edge, got on the tile. I slipped, and I was down for the count. Like, it hit me like I never saw it coming.
Yep.
So I went to an orthopedist. I found out that I fractured my shoulder, and he goes, "This is what we call a lucky break." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
Like, what's a lucky break?"
What's lucky?
A lucky break is when you didn't see it coming and you didn't use your arm or your hand to break the fall. Your whole shoulder took the brunt of it. So you got yourself a little fracture right here. But let me tell you the things that I've seen when people see that they're falling and they're like, no. I mean, he said, I've seen 2 hands, wrists, arms fractured from people trying to catch themselves falling down. So I was like, now I know what a lucky break is. Yours wasn't so lucky.
Well, I look at it, it could have been much, much worse than it was. I actually laid there, though, for a few seconds trying to figure out, taking stock, am I going to have to use my phone and call 911 to get somebody to come in, somebody professional to come and pick me up? And luckily, there were virtually no cars around. But I laid there just for a few seconds and then slowly started to move different parts of my body. Okay, let's see. My left ankle, that works. My left knee, that's work. Okay. Ooh, my arm. My left arm works. My right arm. Oh!
That was that.
So yeah. So the first thing before I went to Burger King, went to the little mini mart in the gas station, and ibuprofen. I think I'll take the larger bottle with me. So, and before I had dinner, a couple.
It's just interesting, that you've had so many adventures. But the thing that's foremost in your mind was last year's, fall. That's just life. It's the way it is. But I hope it doesn't erase all the great times that you've had and things that you've done. Not at all.
Not at all.
So what's the wildest thing that you've ever done without getting hurt, of course?
The wildest thing, the most questionable thing that I've done was probably the March of 1985. And I rode a motorcycle back to Boulder from Silverthorne in a raging blizzard.
Not smart.
Nope.
Sorry.
Nope. There was a woman involved. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh, you had to get somewhere.
Oh yeah. Well, I had to get home. So because I was coming back, But yeah, there was about 2 feet of packed down, churned up snow.
Wow.
Everybody else, the chain laws were in effect. And here I am on this Honda 750 going about 8 miles an hour and trying to, not go off the road. Some guy in a SUV came by, passenger window rolled all the way down. His whole upper body was outside the car, and he had an SLR going,
Taking pictures of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, nice, I'm going to be in the magazines again. So,
I think we all have some things that we've done and that we look back and go, what was I thinking?
oh, yeah.
What are you thinking? What's your vision? What are you seeing for your community, for your production, for your involvement? Like, if I were your fairy godmother and I could come and wave a magic wand and say, anything you want, TG, what does it look like? I'd love to invite you to create that.
What I would love would be to have the biggest megaphone that's ever been created and let people know in this country what's going on right now is not what this country was ever meant to have happen. But the founders were so brilliant, they left a system which is still very much in place right now. The people can take things back because it's called the vote. They're
Right.
trying to disenfranchise, especially married women.
I know. I just read about that. That's just crazy.
Yeah, no, I just talked to Laura at home a little while ago, my wife, and she mentioned as how she wouldn't be able to lay her hands on her birth certificate. So all of a sudden, if we were to move and then a different precinct, she wouldn't be able to register to vote. How do they figure that this is going to fly long term?
So I usually don't venture into the area that we're currently in,
Politics?
politics, because it's heated no matter what. Somebody's
Absolutely.
going to feel uncomfortable. Somebody's going to get rah-rahed. And I like to be an inspirer. So let's extract from this the inspiration for someone to speak up, make a phone call, have your voice be heard. Those are the things that I'd like to be able to say. I can feel like fear and trepidation and a little anxiety, like when you're speaking, and I'm like, oh my God. And I want to just, part of me wants to shut down, but the other part of me wants the same thing that you want, a megaphone, so that out loud, people can hear. It's up to us, the people, to do something that feels right for you. Whatever that right is, that it feels right for you. So I'm going to leave that conversation and just take it down a notch and go to, for the people around you in your community. Whoa. Let's back up for a second. I do, as your fairy godmother, say yes. Wave the wand and have people get in touch with what their reality is, what they envision for themselves, and that we collectively make that happen.
Right.
If I'm showing up as your fairy godmother, I'm going to grant you your wish.
Nice.
So thank you for that.
Okay.
And now for your creative, this creative part of you that's been a videographer, that's been a writer, that's been an artist, that's been an actor. You are fulfilling the vision of your friend Kirk, who passed on and passed a house onto you. That's a studio wrapped in a house.
Right.
So what do you want to see happen there?
Well, at the studio, I'm getting ready to move very much back down into the captain's lounge, per se, the new performance space that is known as the deck. But there's an original series that I want to start shooting fairly soon. And again, without staying too much on politics, it's called Candidate 28. And it's about a guy who's running for office. And the pieces will be very short because it's mostly going to be people sitting at a table. Nigel will be the interviewer. And you can't go, in a situation like this, I don't think you can go for more than 3 to 4 minutes and now it's going to be feeling long. So the pieces need to be short, but within the story, Rad Max comes back. The guy from RC Wheels, but now he's going to run. He's running for office. We don't know what office
that's
he's
cute.
running for. Well, and because RC Wheels is still known out in the greater RC wheel car community, and apparently it is still thought of as the coolest radio control model car video ever made.
You're going to bring them back. It's like cycling around. What goes around comes around.
Well,
so you're going to bring something back.
And I've communicated with some of these guys. Hey, are you Rad Max? Well, no. I played him, though, on TV. But one of the guys, though, who I've been in touch with, I tweaked him a couple of months ago. I said, listen, you didn't hear it from me, but there's a rumor going around. Rad Max is coming back.
I want to hear when Rad Max shows up. You'll let us know. Thank you so much, TG, for being with us today. And the Captain's Lounge and the CIT Network. You are an idea man, I must say, and you are proliferating in bringing new ideas, and we'll look forward to more. Thank you for being a guest today on the Sterling Spin podcast.
Liz, thank you for having me.
I'm Liz Sterling. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe. That's just hit the button to subscribe here to the Sterling Spin podcast. We bring a new production every single Sunday. I'm so grateful that you've joined us, and we will see you again.